Okay, now let's go ahead and look at a new type of try-catch situation. Public class try-catch finally. All right, so public static void main string args. And okay, let's go over looking at the situation of a checked exception. So I'm going to do scanner n equals new scanner, and then I'm going to read in a file. So new file, and I'll just say no such file.txt. So this file doesn't exist. In order to use it, I need to import both the scanner and file. So import java.util.star and import java.io.star. Because this is a checked exception, this requires that I either have throws file not found exception or have a try catch. Let's go ahead and save this, compile it, and here's our error. Unreported exception, file not found, must be caught or declared to be thrown. So just to review, we can have throws, file not found exception if we want, and that'll take care of that. The problem with that is if we run it, and I will go ahead and do it, and the file doesn't exist, which it doesn't, it'll go ahead and throw this exception, etc. in main java.io file not found exception, no such file.txt, no such file or directory. So it can't find it, and so it crashed my program. So just to show you, system out println got to the end. If it prints out got to the end, then it succeeded in not crashing, but it didn't. It threw an exception at this point, and that's not good. So what we can do is instead of doing a throws, which is just letting whatever method called main, which would be the Java virtual machine at this point, take care of it, we will take care of it. So we'll try to open this right here, and we will catch the file not found exception. Give it any variable name you want. And then I'm going to say system out println the system could not find your file. There we go. Maybe a little bit better error message than all of this stuff down here. So go ahead and run it. And the system could not find your file, got to the end. So because we surrounded this exception in a try and catch, we were able to, once this exception was thrown, we caught it, took care of that, and kept going. So that's the beauty of the try and catch. But what is finally? Finally is special. So I'm going to put system out println what does finally do? Let's see if we can figure this out. So if I leave it the way it is right now, we have a try, catch, and remember you can have as many catches as you want. File not found exception, array index out of bounds exception, input mismatch exception, exception, all sorts. And then you have the optional finally. So you have to have a try, you have to have at least one catch, and then as many as you want, and then the optional final finally. Let's see here. So the system could not find your file, what does finally do, and got to the end. So we went through, this threw an exception, it was caught, so the system could not find your file, that's why it was right here, and then finally was run, what does finally do, and then it got to the end. So what happens if it doesn't throw that exception? I have a file called file exists. I've already previously created it. It's there in the same directory as I saved try-catch-finally.java. So it won't throw exception, and it won't be caught by the system could not find your file. So it should work quite well. And what do you know? So this file does exist. It was opened, and then because there was no exception caught, this was never run. but this was run again. So finally happens no matter what. So you have your one try, as many catches as you want, but at least one, and then your optional finally. And finally is what happens at the very end. So how people often use it in this case, for example, is I'll say scanner n equals null, and then I'll say n equals new scanner, does its thing. And at the very end, I want to n.close. It's always a good idea to close your file. The problem with this, of course, is, this is still exception handling, is that n might be null. So if I close this, if there was an exception that happened here, then we could have a problem in my finally. So I'm just going to do some error checking in my finally. So if n is not equal to null, which means that I was able to open it correctly, then I'm going to close it. So there we go. N is equal to null. We're going to try and open it. If it opens successfully, it will be an object. We'll do computing on the file here, whatever we want to do with it. If it doesn't find it, it's going to stop, not do the computing, and the catch will catch the exception. And then after everything's done, whether there was an exception thrown or not, finally will be run. And if n is not equal to null, it'll close the file. There we go. So what did this do? It opened the file, no exceptions, and then it closed it and printed some other things out. So let's review what finally is for. The try catch is very useful for mature programming, making sure that your file, that your application does not crash on you. So if something unexpected happens, you can take care of it during runtime. And finally is something that you can tell the program, I'm going to have a try, I'm going to have a catch, but no matter what happens, I want finally to happen. And in this case, I say no matter what happens, if the file is open, close it. There you go.